Hello guys, Namaste. In this video, I will be talking to you about the engaging conversation that I had with Harsha Bhogle recently. So I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and recently during the Border Gavaskar Trophy, I had the pleasing pleasure of interacting and engaging with Harsha Bhogle. I had the opportunity to interview him, and he was present at this commentators event during Border Gavaskar Trophy in Melbourne, Australia, and there were others as well, the likes of Ravi Shastri, Michael Vaughan, Brett Lee, and a few others. I was very keen on getting a few interviews with a few people, but not everyone was very willing. And so what happened was, while I was trying, Harsha Bhogle was very kind, very humble, very grounded, very down to earth. And when I asked him if I could interview him, he said that okay, I will try. I'll try it at the end when when uh, when we're all done with this. And so I was just trying to stay in front of his eyes so that he would recall that okay, this guy is out here to talk to me, to interview me. And at the very end, he obliged, and I was overjoyed that okay, I finally have this moment. I finally have this opportunity to talk to Harsha Bhogle, engage, converse with Harsha Bhogle, the man who interviews MS Dhoni, who has interviewed MS Dhoni. And that's what my question was based around. The first question that I asked, it was that, what goes on in your mind when you interview MS Dhoni? And I don't know, I hadn't really planned on asking that question, or maybe it was something in my head, but probably that was something that I wanted to know. Because the thing is, I've always been a huge admirer of MS Dhoni, and such a wonderful man. And certainly, I'm a Chennai Super Kings fan as well. So I've always been watching the Chennai Super Kings matches with my eyes all on it during the match, and not just on the match, but on MS Dhoni as well. Especially when MS Dhoni captained back in the day. I used to watch not just the match, but at the same time the post-match interviews as well, very keenly. I used to wait for MS Dhoni to come out for those post-match interviews, and be it after a win or after a loss. I simply used to love watching MS Dhoni at those post-match interviews. And one of those reasons was also because it was more often than not Harsha Bhogle interviewing MS Dhoni, and it was such a pleasing sight. Like, let me know if you agree with this as well. But honestly, Harsha Bhogle interviewing MS Dhoni, such a pleasing sight. Honestly, delightful. And I'll tell you why. So, Harsha Bhogle used to not just interview MS Dhoni, but he used to be so focused on MS Dhoni, and so interested as well. So it's not just that he asked questions, but he asked them with such happiness, and used to actually see that, the larger than life smile on Harsha Bhogle's face, or the joy in his voice, or even when he asked those questions and he was such a keen listener when MS Dhoni responded. Harsha Bhogle was such a keen listener. The joy in his the joy on his face, or the smile on his face. He was always such a keen listener as well, not just a wonderful speaker. And I loved those conversations, and I loved honestly those moments. And so I naturally asked him, what goes on in your mind when you interview MS Dhoni. And what he said was, first of all, I possess profound admiration for your work. And secondly, I want to ask this question. I mean, what goes on in your mind when you are interviewing MS Dhoni? Because there's always that certain gleam in your eyes, and it's noticeable.
Because he's always game, and you don't have to worry about what you're asking him, and he's at a stage in his career where he's happy to talk. So I don't know why it happens. I just lead it and I wait, but those are the longest post-match interviews you hear, because most times you want to end them quickly. When MS is talking, people just let it be.
And that made me feel very happy. Like, you tell me as well, how does that make you feel? But honestly, do we miss MS Dhoni being the captain of Chennai Super Kings? Do we miss those post-match interviews, that he had with Harsha Bhogle? Of course, we miss them. Certainly, we miss them. Why wouldn't we miss them? I personally miss them so much. because of the simple fact that the joy that the interviews brought in our lives, the joy that Harsha Bhogle along with MS Dhoni provided to all those fans. I mean, certainly as someone who loves MS Dhoni, you might wonder, okay, this guy or this girl might have, you know, their attention completely on MS Dhoni while the interview is going on. But I observed Harsha Bhogle as well, and I honestly observed both of them, and I loved those interviews. And I honestly would love to have those interviews back. Harsha Bhogle interviewing MS Dhoni. Honestly, you know what? I would love a series of sorts as well, where Harsha Bhogle has probably a very long discussion with MS Dhoni, and they just chat and have these soulful and prosperous and constructive conversations that light up not just that room that they are in, but also light up numerous rooms out there where all of the fans like us are present and are watching those interviews. So what do you feel, and did you actually love this interview of mine? And if you loved this video as well, please do like, share your thoughts in the comment section. Please head over to my Instagram as well. I do create a lot of content, and watch my other interviews as well if you can. And please do subscribe as well. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your support, and I'm really grateful. Thank you for being here.